Hello, in this video I'd like to introduce you to FieldBotany Biology 320 at Sacramento City College, and it'll be offered this spring 2021 in a virtual format, and I am Lisa Serafini. If you have any questions at all, you can reach me at seraphil@scc.losrios.edu. And first I want to talk about who should consider taking this. Well, people take this course for a variety of reasons. Of course, if you're in our field ecology certificate, you need to take this course as a precursor to the capstone field methods course. But we also have people take this if they are interested in gardening and they want to know more about native plants in California, or people who like to hike and just like to know what the plants are that they're seeing. And of course, also, if you're working in consulting or some other agency and your specialization is animals or something else and you want to know about plants, this course can also help you too. So we have a variety of people taking this course. So you may be aware that California is a biodiversity hotspot. And so there's over 5,000 species of native plants. And how do you get started if you're going to want to learn about these? Well, it's just like when you're trying to learn about people. One of the first things you do is you inquire about their names. Of course, you might ask a plant its name, you might not get anywhere, but so you learn the names like Bob and Sally, and we will be learning plant species names, both common and scientific names. And we'll be learning how to recognize, how to identify that as being that particular species. But if you wanted to get to know Bob, you might ask about Bob's family. And we'll be doing the same thing with our plants, that we will learn about the family of plants to which that species belongs and ways of recognizing plants as belonging to that family. And this is really very helpful in identification of plants. But that's just the beginning. Because if you really want to get to know a person like Sally this time, you might want to know, well, where does Sally live? What does Sally like to do? What is essential in her life? And with plants, this might be, well, where do we find the plant? What part of California? What kind of habitat does it live in? Is it living up in the mountains in high elevation? Is it living near the rivers? Is it living in a vernal pool? So this kind of information, some of which we'll learn in this class, but you almost always have to start with plant identification before you can get to this. So what are we going to do? So we're going to learn to identify plant species and plant families. But what if you're going out and you see a plant that we haven't learned and you want to know what it is? We're also going to learn how to use the Jepson manual, which my visual is over to the side. It's a big book, okay, for plant identification, plants in California. Now, you won't need that book because it is online, and we're going to be able to key out plants. I'll show you how we're doing that in just a moment. And I'll take you through the Jepson manual key because it's a bit daunting at first. And we'll talk about tips on how you can get through it and use it effectively. And if you work in plants out in the field, you're going to need to know how to use the Jepson manual. So as I said in our Zoom meetings, and I'll tell you more about that, we'll get to keying out plants, and I'll have made PowerPoints where I've done dissections of plants, and we'll go through the key together so that you get familiar and comfortable with using the Jepson manual. We will also be looking at prepared voiced over PowerPoints, which are virtual field trips. And I'll either cover a location or a plant family, and I'll talk about the characteristics of plants. I hope to make some short movies of various locations. And even though we won't be able to go out to those together, probably not, I'll give you directions and you'll be able to go to some of the locations, perhaps not this particular one. This is the Jepson Prairie. So I do also hope to pass out bags of plant samples, but we'll have to see if that's possible or not. Now, what are you going to need to take the course? You are going to need a hand lens, magnifying lens of at least 10x, 10 times magnification. I would also suggest maybe 20 or 30 times. But you're really not going to meet much else because I think I'm going to be giving you the lab manual online. We'll be using Jepson manual online. And although there are many field guides to plants, um, you may be able to buy some, but you're not going to be required to have them. And so it's going to be very low in terms of amount of money you have to spend to take this class. Now, how are we going to run the class? Because normally it's run on Fridays and we do the first half of the semester, 3 hours on campus, and then the last half of the semester we actually go to all these locations. Well, we'll be doing it also on Friday, most likely 2 hours starting at 1:30. May change slightly. So when the schedule comes out in mid to late October, check the information. It will tell you the details about how the course will be run. It was actually quite fun under our estranged, weird circumstances at the end of last semester. And I think we can have a lot of fun and learn a lot together this time too. And I really look forward to seeing you. So I do hope that you will take field botany. Bye. Once I can end this.